Hey everyone, this is J-Rod here. I got Wi-Fi back. It's unbelievable. So everything's taken care of. But first things first, before I start the episode 35 that I'm late to do, there's going to be certain changes at this point with deleted WrestleZone. I managed to talk to my partner and friend Nico. Excuse me. As you must know, Nico has this job that he's been working for quite a while. The hours were kind of, how do I say this? Were kind of not conflicting. I mean, they're giving him a better good pay and all this. So I managed to talk to him. So I told him for the time being, I'll do this by myself until if there's any changes that go on in his job where he's at. But if you must know, he's involved mostly attending Fist Combat, a local promotion down here in San Diego. So for the time being, it's going to be me, but there will be certain changes. So episode 35 will be the last one where I compile everything all at once. You know, MLW, NWA, all of this. Excuse me. I've been having delayed coughing. So anyway, so basically, this is the last episode with me compiling everything. But starting now, I will be doing piece by piece. One episode, I'll talk about MLW, one Impact, or maybe two promotions if I have the time. Or if I can make the time, however it is. So enjoy this last episode of me doing all the shit compiling. Right now, I'm working on MLW, and then we'll start with the rest. So, hope you guys enjoy the show, and welcome to Deleted WrestleZone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey, welcome everybody. We're now in episode 35, if you believe it, for Deleted WrestleZone. Let's do a quick review with Major League Wrestling with the MLW Fusion episode. Can you believe we just hit 100 with these guys? I'm so excited, you know. This was an interesting episode for me because this was a match between Jacob Fatu and Shima for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship. But let's start from top to bottom. No, from bottom to the top of the entire card, and we'll go from there. It started out with Jacob Fatu giving a message to Shima that, of course, we all know Fatu is going to win this match because nothing is stopping Contra Unit. So we can skip all of that as possible. Then we had a match between Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Eric Stevens, the newest addition for Team Filthy. As you know, Davey Boy Smith still has an axe to grind with Tom Lawler because he hit him in the eye and all this and stuff. And not to mention their relationship and now an alliance with the Von Erichs. We still don't know if Davey Boy Smith and the Von Erichs are going to form a stable faction of their own to take on Team Filthy. Still unclear on that. But it was a great match. It was like more of a grappling, a bit of the submission type event, you know, type of match. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't turn out like they did with Davey Boy Smith had that one match with no ropes around. I think he was facing I'm not sure it was, I think it was Dominic Guarini. I'm not sure. Can't remember. I got to go back to that. But it was a good match. But of course, Tom Lawler, during this entire match, he was down at the commentary, you know, all this and that. Still disrespecting the Von Erichs and all this other stuff. So that's how he was rolling. And of course, after it was, I think they were trying to, the guy in the corner for Eric Stevens didn't work, try to derail him to win. But of course, Davey Boy Smith won the match. But of course, there was an interview where he is still going to be in alliance with the Von Erichs, you know. You may remember from the last time about them that Fritz Von Erich, their grandfather, was trained by Davey Boy Smith's grandfather, Stu Hart. I don't know what's going to go the direction with those guys, but I can't wait to see more. Then we have Injustice. As you know, they've been causing all kinds of problem with MLW, but mostly with Brian Pillman Jr. They cost him the match for the Opera Cup, where they injured him, and he decided to go on, face his team member, his friend, Davey Boy Smith, and he wasn't mad that he lost to him. He was just upset. He's mad that Injustice disrespected him for no apparent reason. Injustice has still been bitching, complaining about they were not even involved. Well, they should know it was the Hart family that made the decision, not MLW. But they disrespected the family. So MLW, Court Bauer made the decision to ban them from entering. And of course, there being a bunch of bitches about saying we gotta be in there, I gotta wrestle, but apparently, sorry. So that kind of made the plans not go well. As y'all recall, King Mo has been disrespecting Low Ki, saying he doesn't care about him, or what does he do? Low Ki, he doesn't mind. He doesn't care about the challenge. He's ready for anything. He's ready to fight. That's the kind of man he is. He doesn't care what King Mo thinks. If you think you're that good, get in the ring. We may see a match with those two sometime soon. Of course, we all know LA Park. He's back. But this time he's not with Promociones Dorada, which is Selena de la Renta's faction. It's still unclear what's going on with her. Even though Nico, if he was here, he probably will talk more about her because he's in love with her or he has a crush on her. Don't get me started on that. I mean, don't get me wrong. She is hot. Completely. If I had my way, I'll probably date her. So, shh. So anyway, LA Park made the decision. He's saying he's going to be a free agent. So he's officially not with MLW. That means he can still work with MLW as much as he wants. But he's not exclusive signing with these guys. We have seen wrestlers in the past that do that. So, but I'm just glad that we may be able to see him with MLW because we know MLW and AAA are now in an alliance together in a partnership. So we may see him more. The next match was an interesting one. This one was Jimmy Havoc along with Priscilla Kelly versus the Rogue Prince, Brian Pillman Jr. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little thing about this match. This match was incredible. I say this is one of the best matches with Brian Pillman because he's evolving, you know, like he hasn't been throwing much of his in-ring work like we hoped for, but this time he has. He's been working now, going from the bottom to the top, and he's working his way down there. But luckily in this match, he wasn't interfered by those dweebs Injustice. Give me a minute. Need some water. Anyway. So, it was great moments. Great counters, great attacks, clotheslines, all of that. But of course, I always see Priscilla Kelly was there. Basically, I thought in the back of my mind, she's going to cost him the match. But he did not let that get into his head because we know what Jimmy Havoc is capable of. But surprise, surprise, he won this match. And he's now getting more recognition. So the commentators did some great talk about how he felt that his loss to Loki might have woken him up. And, you know, I have to agree with him. Some things like that are bound to happen. So, Brian Pillman, we may see him more often, but we're still trying to see for sure if he can make the weight class for the middleweight, since Myron Reed may face him down the line if he still has a title. Because from what I'm understanding right now, The next upcoming Fusion episode, Myron Reed will put his title on the line, the middleweight title, against AAA's Laredo Kid. I'm excited. Last week, if you all recall, Laredo Kid did a little preview what he can do against Myron Reed. But we just got to wait and see what's going to happen for that. So I'm excited, so we'll stand by for that. And then we have Dynasty. They're still talking more about what they're planning to do. They're still going with the MJF. Still has that messed up face because of what happened to the arm between him and Devon Eriks, which is crazy. But it was funny. But there were some moments that we saw that what's his name? Richard Holiday still has that Caribbean title. Basically, he doesn't own the title. That's Savio Vega's title. He did not want it. It wasn't even sanctioned. He was just carrying it around to show his appreciation. But Holiday still holds it, thinking he is the champion. But of course, he goes, deal with my father/attorney. Sooner or later, Savio will get that title back. And there's nothing his father/attorney can do about that because it's not even an MLW alliance with them. But we'll see what goes. And then we have an interview with Mance Warner. So he's still pissed off with what Dynasty did. He's still going to get their hands. His uncle, if you guys haven't seen, he was attacked by Dynasty. He said he's fine, you know, Mo Man. So we'll just see what's going to go on with that. Then Contra Unit are saying that their Sentai Death Squad are ready to invade. They're probably talking about invading Japan because Ikaro Kwan is currently there. Still don't know what is going on down there. Now, the main event was Jacob Fatu versus Shima. There were some great moments where Shima had the momentum, but of course, as always, it's not enough. But of course, there's the interference by Joseph Samael. We've seen that 100 times. But sadly, Shima did not win. But the one thing that was crazy is right at the end of the match, post-match, the Sentai Death Squad showed up with the sort of like a gurney type with a body bag, and they put and Jacob Fatu put Shima in a body bag. So there's still no word who's gonna take Katrina out. So we'll just gotta wait and see. And Fatu saying that they're not going nowhere. We're just waiting for the right team that will take them on. So let's just wait and see what's gonna happen for the upcoming weeks. Hopefully someone can challenge Jacob Fatu. So that is the end for MLW, and I'll be right back with more. Right, so we're back with NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. As you've been or not aware, there was no NWA Power this week. It was 2 episodes of the Circle Squared. If you guys don't know what this is, I'm going to give you a quick recap. This is where they try to hire new talent to give a contract from NWA. The first 2 people were Luke and forgot his other name, PJ Hawks, a father and son duo known as Hawks Airy, against these guys named Dean and Neil, who are under the tutelage of Nikita Koloff, NWA legend. So majority of the fans have voted the Hawks because we never seen that much of the father and son dynamic kind of thing. I mean, we've seen that rarely, like maybe once in a while, like we did that with Dusty Rhodes and his sons and all this. But yeah. So let's go with the episode 2, which introduced 2 new wrestlers, Colby Corino. Now, Colby Corino, from what they're saying, he grew up in a wrestling ring. His father was Steve Corino, who was a former NWA World Champ, and he is now stepping into the NWA ring to follow his family footsteps. But there was a moment during there he kind of choked up about his son, who's 7 months old. I think he got emotional. I think many wrestlers would do anything for their families. So I'm assuming that. And the next person that they introduced is George South, another legend, but he never stood in the same side as the all-time legends of the NWA, like Ric Flair, Rick Steamboat, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, all those great legends that ever set foot in the NWA. But George South is also someone that he's close to Colby Corino. Basically, he took him in when his dad left him. And basically, he's always been like a father figure to him. So, but George South is here to make a name for himself, much like Colby is. But the match was great. I think there were some moments. This was like more of a rare dynamic match where you have two people that know each other, when one who was a new generation and the old generation together. It was great. But I forgot much of that match. The match. But I'll tell you who won. Colby Corino. George South felt disappointed, but of course, you can cast your votes on the NWA website, on the National Wrestling Alliance. My money, I would say Colby Corino does have what it takes. He could be something that the NWA need. George South, well, people can say sometimes we do need some of the old timers to kick the new kids a kick in the ass, that type of thing. But that's just me saying. Now, during this thing they posted, they had updates for the Crockett Cup. Let's see what they posted. The Crockett Cup announced, of course, the whole thing with the Nick Aldis and Marty Scurll Part 2 for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Now, here's the stipulation. If Marty wins, he becomes the new NWA World Champion. But if Marty loses, he will give Nick Aldis a check of $500,000. That is $500,000. So the pressure's on Marty on this one. We have for a match between Trevor Murdoch and Eric Stevens, and of course he'll have the question mark by his side. This time will be for the NWA National Championship, as Aaron Stevens likes to call it, third degree national championship. You know, but that's how it is. Then we have, it's still unclear that the women's championship will be played. Thunder Rosa will put her title on the line, but the question is, who will be stepping up? Now, I'm going to pause right here for a minute or two. My opinion, I think the person who would step up, it probably would be Camille. Don't ask me why. Ever since she speared Allison Kay, I just had that distinct feeling that's where they're going to go. So if you guys think otherwise, if you think it's someone else, if you think it's Melina or Allison Kay, leave a comment down below. I really want to hear you guys, because I like to hear you guys' opinions. Now, as you know, there's the tag team entrance. Now, we do have tag team entrance in this one. They already announced a while ago the Rock and Roll Express are in. This is their last chance. Last time, they were unsuccessful. But we did hear for new entrants. We have Villain Enterprises. Brody King is now coming back for the Crockett Cup, but this time, PCO will not be in this one because he's already booked to be in a match against Nick Aldis at Super Card of Honor, which is around WrestleMania weekend. So, there goes that. But Brody King will team up with his stablemate, Flip Gordon. So, I'm happy to see those two teaming up. The next team they announced, it's the Mexi Squad. The current 2/3 of the 6-man tag team championship, Flamita and Ray Horace. So, I'm excited to see that. And then the final entrance that they announced, Strictly Business, Royce Isaacs, and Tom Latimer. Now, if you guys recall, these guys were part of the wild card. Basically, these guys were single competitors that they teamed up anyway. So they're going to do that same thing on the upcoming Crockett Cup event. So I will get to that in a bit. Now, here's the rules for the Crockett Cup. The gauntlet rules: 2 wrestlers start every 90 seconds. New entrant is an over-the-top rope elimination. The final 2 wrestlers will be the wild card. So basically, there will be a gauntlet match going around. So these are mostly like either tag team or single competitors. So basically, whoever are the last 2 standing are the two wrestlers that will be teamed up as the wild card. So Royce Isaac and Tom Latimer were part of that, and that's why they dubbed themselves in the NWA wild card. Now, for single competitors that are entering this gauntlet, we have the former NWA World Champion Tim Storm, the former television champion Ricky Starks, and of course the current champion, television champion Zicky Dice. Yeah, I don't know why isn't. Now let's jump in with episode 3. We have Freya the Slayer, all the way from Alaska. You know, she had an interesting story. Not a lot of people know that Alaska has wrestling down there. Who knew? I'm learning something. And that's good thing here on Deleted Wrestle Zone. We're learning some new things that we don't know about. That's why I created this channel. I would like to know more about wrestling in Alaska. Now let's move on. And then they introduced this new girl named Danny Jordan. She looks like a high school girl, and she burned Freya the Slayer. Like, she printed out something. I have to say, she has like a unique style, unique gimmick. But I'm gonna skip ahead on this one. Who won the match? Freya the Slayer won. People said that she was the underdog in this match. Some people look like Danny Jordan, but there were some good punches in this match. I enjoyed it. So we still, you can still cast your votes. Who would win for this one? Either Freya the Slayer or Danny Jordan. But I'll probably cast my vote too. So now, as you all know, there was no NWA Power this past week. Next week there is no NWA Power, but there is this new thing called Super Power. So NWA has announced it, and they already put out some matches for this particular event that's going to take place this coming Tuesday on March 17th. So here are the matches. Nick Aldis teaming with Tom Latimer versus Villain Enterprises, Marty Scurll, and Brody King. That's going to be a killer match. Camille will have her first match and then her first interview on NWA. This is going to be interesting. Tim Storm facing off against Jack Dane, a man that he beat for the NWA World title before he became champion. Then we have the Rock and Roll Express versus Aaron Stevens and the question mark. This is something that Aaron Stevens has been trying to do. Find a way to get the attention of the current tag team champions, Eli Drake and James Storm. But we know that I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we'll just got to wait and see. So that is it for the NWA segment. So I'll continue more with this episode, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back for the Wednesday Night War. If you guys want to know who won this week, well, surprise, surprise, AEW Dynamite won for the 11th straight week in a row. Now, the views and the rating is a bit more different from the previous week. So, let's review how much. For the views, they got about 766,000 views with the rate of 0.26. So, they went down by 15% on this one. I mean, I know they're trying to reach the 1 million mark, but at this point, it's not. But this week, there's a conclusion that I've been hearing that's saying maybe because it's the coronavirus. I'm not sure. You know, I can't speculate on that. But as for NXT, they received 697,000 views with the rate of 2.1. This time it went down 2, but not much like AEW went down to 3%. So, you know, there's no harm and fuss on that, you know. So let's start with how the recap on AEW. It started with the whole thing, what happened with Moxley, where Jericho threatened him, saying that he's not going to leave the arena standing on his 2 feet, and of course, he was true to his word. Now, the show started where Handman is choosing a partner. Kenny Omega, on the other hand, he injured his hand during Revolution, during that tag team match they had with the Bucks. But it was still unclear who was his partner. But he did ask Nick, does he have his gear? But he said his partner is a total mystery. And Matt goes, "You're not teaming with this prick, are you?" So basically, Nick was put in a compromising position. So I don't know what was that all about, but it's kind of interesting where they're going with this. The first match of the evening was Ortiz along with Santana versus Cody Rhodes along with Brandy and, of course, the head of the Nightmare family's coach, Arn Anderson. There was some good shots. Now, my favorite moment is when Brandy whacked Santana with her belt. That was so classic. I loved it. I enjoyed it completely. I know that there was a moment where Cody took out Ortiz outside and tried to do like a little, I don't know what they call it, but it was great. It was so awesome the way it went. But of course, the match went to Cody Rhodes. Now, post-match, Santana made the initial attack on Cody with the slapjack, but here comes Kenny and Matt to, take him out. But all of a sudden, here comes on the Tynestron with Jericho telling them that coming to Blood and Guts, that they're going to decimate them. And of course, Jericho asked him where's Nick, and Nick was already been taken out by the Inner Circle. And of course, throughout the entire time, that's when Cody, Kenny, everybody else, including members of the Nightmare family, went up to check on Nick, see how he's doing. So that kind of skewed the whole thing. The next match we had was a women's tag team match. Bees Priestley finally came back after who knows how long, as you must know where she was. She's been wrestling down in Japan with Stardom. She teamed for the first time with Nyla Rose, the current AEW Women's Champion. Again, they're facing up against Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. Now, people are saying, why would they team up? Well, this isn't the first time they team up. If you all recall, months ago, before the start of the year, Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida were in a tag team match, but Hikaru Shida was like somewhere in the top, and Chris Statlander somehow was able to steer her way in by facing her in the match, and that's how she ended up with her supposed match against Rio. But it was great, The match was good, but didn't know what to make of it. There were some good moments, but I'm going to skip ahead a bit. The winner of this was Bea Priestley and Nyla. Now, the post-match was the interesting part. Bea Priestley called her shots. She attacked Nyla Rose, made it clear what she wants, and that was the Women's Championship. So, I don't think Priestley is currently in the top 5. I know Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander, Big Swole, and Britt Baker. I forgot who's the 4th. I don't think B is currently in the top 5. That's one of those things that kind of got me right there. So, but I'm assuming she may somehow skip someone or pass over. I don't know. But we'll just wait and see where they're going to go with Bea Priestley goes. Now, the interesting promo, oh my god, this was so funny. As you all know, for months, Christopher Daniels was being accused. He's the Exalted One. He's a member of... And so he decided to fight fire with fire. So, he decided to say that they suck. That they're full of it. And he's like going out saying that there is no Exalted One. That's all in the head that Evil Uno thought up. And that's kind of interesting how it went down. So, I'm like, it's... excuse me. It's just so funny how the whole thing went. So, we just gotta wait and see. Now, the next match is a 6-man tag team match. We had the Butcher, the Blade, along with the Bunny, teaming up with MJF, along with Wardlow, against our favorite group, Jurassic Express. Now, as you know, there's always the numbers advantage. You had the Butcher and the Blade with the Bunny, and of course MJ with Wardlow. So basically in this one you had 2 people on the outside. Now, I don't know if they will ever form a stable faction, but MJF paid them as mercenaries. So we just gotta wait and see where they're gonna go with it. So, but MJF, the Butcher and the Blade, took the victory on this one. So MJF is currently trying to reach to get to the top of the mountain, trying to be the first ever youngest AEW World Champion. So that's always been on his play. The next thing we have is the interview with Britt Baker. As always, Britt Baker, being Britt, insulting everybody about their teeth. But Big Swole had enough of her, and she does something. She shows she's engaged and says the one words that kind of piss her off. Baby! There's only one person who say, but he's dead. Just kidding, guys. You know where he is. But it's so funny. Now, the next match was the debut of Death Triangle. Now, we have seen this. Now, let me make a pause. Now, if you all recall, back in Fyter Fest, the second pay-per-view from AEW, the Lucha Brothers were supposed to, being in a six-man tag along with Pac. Now, Pac was pulled out because there was some creative differences between him and AEW. Now, Pac didn't want to be involved because he has a reputation to spread as the Dragon Gate's champion, the Open the Dream Gate Championship that he held at the time. And all of a sudden we see them again. They were part of another event where they teamed up. Now, there was a part of me that think, these guys could be a perfect stable faction. I never told this to anybody, but for some reason they probably weren't meant to be part of a stable faction, and they introduced themselves as Death Triangle. And I think maybe that was part of the plan that AEW wanted, was for Pac to be in a stable faction with the Lucha Brothers. I mean, it does fit perfectly, with these guys. And so that's my initial thought. Now let's jump in with the match. They were facing against Private Party and the Bad Boy Joey Janela. Now, what do I think about this match? It showed more what the six-man tag team matches could be. I think AEW were thinking about having a six-man tag team championship, but that doesn't start until 2021. There were some great moves from both sides, including Private Party, as they always tried to impress me. But sadly, Death Triangle won, and they ended it where they were trying to put all three members in a Death Triangle submission move. I didn't expect that. But out of nowhere, here comes Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, who they still got a bone to pick with Death Triangle after what happened last week. Or should I say, freshly squeezed against Pac. So, that's what happened for that event. Then we go into a interview with Dustin Rhodes, where he wasn't scheduled to be in the match, but he volunteered himself to team up with Hangman Page, whether he liked it or not. Reason behind the story is that he still has a bone to pick with the Inner Circle. So, as you all recall, the Inner Circle were in fact took him out before Full Gear. So that's pretty interesting how it went. Now, as you all know, Shawn Spears is still looking for a partner. So he still hasn't found one. So you can put hashtag search for Spears. So it's still unclear what is it that they're trying to do. So we still don't know the partner, who it is. So I don't know how long this is going to take, but we'll get there. So the next thing we have is, of course, what's going to happen for next week. As you know, we're 1 week away from Blood and Guts. There are two matches that have been announced. We have the Best Friends along with Orange Cassidy versus the Lucha Brothers, where they'll be accompanied by the Bastard Pac. And the next match is a six-man tag team match. Now, winner of this match will be the one that had the numbers gain during the Bloods and Guts. This is between the Elite and the Inner Circle. Now, I don't know which members from both team or from both the Elite or the Inner Circle is going to join. So, whoever wins this match will have the numbers gain on this one. So, we just got to wait and see for that episode when it takes place. Before, I'll mention something before the end of this part of the segment. So, the next thing we see is JR interviewing Moxley, knowing that Moxley kind of said he did what he said he was going to do. He was going to protect, that he was going to fight regardless, but he's not medically cleared. But he did question Jericho. How smart does he really think he is? So, who knows? Maybe he might cost them the 2 matches coming up this week, or the Blood and Guts. Sorry, folks, that's my cat on the other side. She's trying to... So anyway, we don't know what is going to happen. Is Moxley going to make an appearance and cost the Inner Circle the upcoming matches? So, that's what happens. Now, the next main event is Hangman Page teaming up with Dusty Rhodes versus the Inner Circle, Sammy Guevara, and Dustin Rhodes. So that's going to be an interesting thing. So it appears that Hangman and Dustin actually did coexist. I don't know what was going to be the outline for this, but it turned out great. But from what I can tell, I just didn't expect that they were going to team up great, because we know what happened to Nick. But of course, the winners for this particular match was Hangman and Dustin. But of course, Inner Circle were not too pleased with the loss, and then have tried to do the beatdown. Kenny Omega tried to help, but he injured his hand even more. It's still unclear how bad. And here comes Cody, try to help, but was taken out. They were even trying to take out Hangman Page the same way they did with Moxley last week, but it didn't happen that way. Next thing we know, here comes Matt making the save, but all of a sudden he just flipped off Hangman. I think the story is, it's like Hangman has issues towards Matt, not Nick. So whatever the scenario is for this one, it's kind of interesting because of the story where they're going to go with it. So, I don't know where they're going to go with this one, but that's how it ended. So, we just got to wait and see what's going to happen this coming week. Now, before I jump into NXT, it's been announced today that AEW are actually not going to have their upcoming show for Dynamite at Rochester, New Jersey. They're going to move it to Jacksonville, Florida, at the Daly's place, which is owned by the Khan family. So the only reason is because of the coronavirus. So still unclear what's gonna happen now. So it's still no surprising about it, but due to the safety of the people that's going over there, we're just going to see where we're going to go with this. Now let's jump into NXT. We all know what happened last week. We don't need to know. But the first match was booked already from last week. Keith Lee putting his championship title on the line, the North against Cameron Grimes. It's ever since he become the North American champion, he's become a target. And Cameron Grimes wants that title. Now, there were some great moments in this match where you look at advantage and disadvantage. The advantage is both Keith Lee, he can move fast for a guy of a big size. He can even jump off the turnbuckle for a man of his size. Cameron Grimes, he has the speed to do what he needs to outmaneuver Keith Lee. But it was great. I loved it. It was a great match. But of course, there has to be a winner. The winner was Keith Lee. Now, when he won this match, post-match, Damian Priest attacked him with the nightstick, the same kind of nightstick that he used on Dominik Dijakovic. Now, if you recall, he had nothing against Dijakovic. He just thought, he's done. It's my chance to get the title. So basically, Keith Lee has a big target on his back. Now, Dijakovic tried to make the save, but Priest just left. But when he saw when Keith Lee came to and saw Dijakovic, he powerbombed him. I don't know if in kayfabe on this one, I don't know if Keith Lee's starting to see he's a huge target now. He has people coming over. You got Dijakovic, Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest. Everybody wants the title. And don't forget, Roderick Strong probably could get his title back. We're not sure yet. But we'll cross the bridge when we get there. Then we have a #1 contendership for the women's title in a ladder match. Is going to take place at TakeOver. We already have Chelsea Green, who is now the first participants. And of course, the next match that was booked, we have Mia Yim versus Dakota Kai being accompanied by, surprise, surprise, Raquel Gonzalez. Now, people were still concerned over the fact that Dakota Kai, how her injury from last week affected her from the steel cage, where Dakota Kai, Tegan Knox slammed the door right there and hurt her knee. We don't know how that turned out to be for her, but that's how it ended up. Now, Mia Yim, she still hasn't forgotten what Dakota Kai did to her last time at TakeOver for War Games. Give me a minute. So anyway, this was a pretty interesting match, but I'm going to skip ahead on this one anyway. Mia Yim won the match, but before that, Raquel was told to get out of the ringside, but not being the insurance policy, she couldn't believe that Tegan Knox lost. She tried to take out Mia Yim, and as soon as they left, all pissed, Mia Yim didn't care that if she was beaten. She cared that she finally beat her, and she took her out of the running to be the NXT Women's Champion. It's good psychological, because Mia Yim knows, I don't care if you beat me. I don't care if you beat me down to the ground, take me out. You're out. That's great psychological style that I like, how it ended up. Now, the next we see is Tommaso Ciampa showing up. He came to get answers to Johnny Gargano for what happened at TakeOver Portland, where he cost him the match. But that's a little later, so we'll get to there too. Then we see Rhea Ripley come out for a little promo talking about all this, but Charlotte Flair shows up. I don't remember what they were saying back and forth, but they were beating the crap out of each other. But Charlotte took out Rhea Ripley right at the knee, and it was so crazy how it turned out. I don't know what to make of it, but it's so crazy. And she put her in the figure 4 leg lock right at the turnbuckle, where, the edge, where she's like hanging down. And of course, she made her statement that she probably could be 2-time NXT Women's Champion. So we just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen next week. The next thing we see is, hold on, did I skip a match? Oh yeah, we see Raul Mendoza versus Kushida. Now, this match was supposed to be taken months ago, but it kind of messed up thanks to Cameron Grimes. Let's go back to that. What happened is Kushida was out for 2 months because of a hand injury that he received from Walter. And when Kushida made his return, he actually was scheduled to face Raul Mendoza. But Raul Mendoza was stomped right down the chest by Cameron Grimes, saying, I'll be the welcome mat. He wanted to take out Kushida. It's like Cameron Grimes was trying to take him out. But this was a match that it's already been set to redone after what happened the last time. So I don't know what to make of that, but thank God that this match was back together. It was great. You got strong style mixing with lucha libre. Who could win? But my personal opinion, strong style always wins. That's how I've always said. Kushida has always been one of the amazing junior heavyweights of his time. Now, during this time, Mia Yim was out celebrating how she's happy she is in the number one contendership in the ladder match for TakeOver. All of a sudden, an SUV or whatever car brand was there. Two masked men grabbed Mendoza. It's still unclear why. I mean, I don't know what is that all about, but it's kind of interesting. It feels like a Spanish soap opera. Sorry, guys. It's just, that's what wishful thinking on my part, but it's just too crazy. But yeah, that's how it. Now, we see Finn Balor. He had a passport sending a message to Walter. Now, it appears that Finn Balor is heading to NXT UK. I will talk about that in a while, once I'm done with this. So, what happens next? Tegan Knox is set to face against the Vucherosa, Diona Pizarro, for also part of the number one contendership ladder match that is scheduled there. Now, I'm just skip ahead. Tegan Knox won this one. So basically, she's in the running for this one too. Now, there's an exclusive interview that was not live, but it was like you can see it on YouTube or the network. Tegan is so happy that she won, but she also had the biggest satisfaction ever. That Dakota Kai is not even in it. It makes her happy knowing that she's not involved, because Dakota Kai would have attacked her no matter what. But that's how it is in every match. Then we got the Broserweights putting their titles on the line against Undisputed Era versus the Undisputed Era. But before the match even starts, here comes the Dream explaining why he came back. He said that all of this was about the NXT Championship. And Adam Cole, of course, is not amused with the whole thing. He's not amused with Dream targeting him. He said he's not that devious, playing mind games with Dart or messing around with Roderick Strong's family. But he did state it, Adam Cole, that next week will be his longest reigning championship. So that means he could beat out Finn Balor for that. So we may see that for the first time. Now, so what happens during the match, there was some great tag team dynamics. But my favorite moment during the match, they actually brought in Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. Pete Dunne does this, and he hit the ground, and the ref heard it, and he was telling them that Cole and Strong super kicked them, and they were like, no, they didn't, and they were saying they did. It's funny, and Pete Dunne, he's not the kind of guy who gets away with that. He's all about fighting, but I think him teaming with him, it kind of made it more funner. I can't believe they got away with it. But during the match, here comes Grizzled Young Veterans to ensure the Broserweights loses, because they felt that the way they lost was uncalled for. That it should have been them, because they want to be the ones to dominate the tag team division. But we just got to wait and see. Now, in my personal opinion, I could see now that Fish and O'Reilly are no longer in the running for the championship, the tag team championship, but I can see, what's his name? Sorry, raining outside. I can see Grizzled Young Veterans try to be the one team that can actually, be in a running for it. But we just got to wait and see what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks. Now, the show ended where Tommaso wanted answers to why Gargano did what he did. But Gargano said, you know why. You betrayed me and all of a sudden people started loving you. So that's what happened. So basically, the whole thing became a brawl throughout the entire performance center. They were going through areas, the conference room, the gym, everything. But the biggest shocker is where Tommaso Ciampa took out himself and Gargano right in the commentary desk. It's so crazy how it ended. I mean, I didn't expect that, but of course, I had to say, Mamma Mia! But it's so crazy. But we just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen next week in NXT. But just to reiterate all of you this particular show took place at the Performance Center instead of Full Sail because they have suspended operations there due to the coronavirus. So, as of this moment, NXT will do their shows at the Performance Center. And it's also been announced that WWE are going to do the same thing for Raw and SmackDown. But I'll remind everybody again. So, we'll be right back for more, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so I'm back. The last thing I want to talk about is NXT UK. This is the first time I see a full episode because I haven't seen it. I don't have the network, but I do have a way how to watch it. So if you guys want to know, leave a comment down below and I can tell you, because I can also see not only the NXT UK, and I can see NXT, all the WWE shows they have there, so does AEW, and plenty others. So, you just gotta wait and see. Now, what do I think about NXT UK? Well, it's alright. It has a good feeling. It's kind of like another version of NXT, but down in the UK, but with a different feel. So, it starts out with Finn Balor showing up. He wanted Walter. As you all recall, last week, Balor was trying to say what's next for him, but here comes two members of Imperium sending their regards on behalf of Walter. They took him out. But of course, here comes Imperium, giving them the proper welcome mat, as we all know, as I like to call it, an Imperium beatdown. But Balor was managed to hold on his own and escape. So, basically, this feud between him and the in-ring general is going to be escalating. Now, my brother did predict that we may see Walter lose his title to Finn Balor. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but if you guys think so, leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your opinion on that. Now, the first thing we have is Piper Niven. She's an interesting wrestler for the NXT UK Women's Division. While ago, she was on the side of Toni Storm, who was facing against Kaylee Ray for the Women's Championship, but it was an I Quit match. Now, Piper knows she can't do anything, like she can't get involved, but she's trying to encourage, Toni the fight back. But everything she did to Toni was, she took her out badly. It's kind of crazy how when Piper did not like the fact what Kaylee Ray did, and she said that someone needs to stop her. I'm not sure if she means that she has to do something to stop her or whatever. But we'll get to that when it happens. So we just got to wait what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks with Piper Niven. If we may see those two teaming, facing off. So I'm going to pay attention to more of that. Then we see more, but throughout the entire episode on NXT UK, we see the WrestleMania promo, so we don't need to see that. We have this interesting tag team duo called Pretty Deadly versus Darius Gordon and Dan Maloney. Now, I don't know any of these guys, but I'm going to skip ahead on this one. Pretty Deadly won. I'm still trying to find out who's who, but I'm not there yet. So, once I catch up, you'll be the first to know. Then we have Johnny Saint and Sid Scala, two of the heads of NXT UK. Now, while they were having the conversation, here comes Alexander Wolf demanding a match against Finn Balor. And of course, they gave it to him. But all of a sudden, here comes Jordan Devlin, returning from his excursion as the new NXT Cruiserweight division. So they told him the next week he's going to be in a match against an old foe. And that foe is Travis Banks. So he's going to face him, put his title on the line against him. So that's going to be an interesting thing. Now, Travis Banks was involved in a fatal four-way match in Worlds Collide, where he and Devlin were in against Garza and Isaiah Swerve Scott, but he came up short on that one. So we see a interaction with this guy named Mastiff. I heard that he lost against Walter, against Flash Gordon Webster and Mark Andrews, just having a conversation. But here comes stable faction Gallus, who are two-thirds of the members of the current NXT UK Tag Team Champions, having a little more of a who is the better team. So basically, we may see these guys face off, pretty much. Now, if you guys want to know Gallus, I just did a little more research. These guys are Irish stable faction, kind of like Irish mob type, but we'll just go how it goes with it. Pretty interesting. Then we have this guy Noam Dar, who you may have heard him from. Saw him at the the Cruiserweight Classics, and he was a substitute or a fill-in or whatever for a wrestler star someone who actually was injured or pulled out. I'm not sure. Against Ligera, this guy kind of like a mask, wearing a kind of like a bull, but nothing compared like what Rush uses when he goes out with a mask. What happened is Noam Dar has been insulting him, saying things to pick on people's sides, trying to do this and that, but it was a good match. It was like the girl was getting sick and tired of Noam Dar getting in his face. He tried to outsmart him, but Noam Dar is way too smart. A great match. But I'm not sure if this is going to continue on with a rivalry between these two, but we'll just wait and see. But Noam Dar won this match. Then we see a women's match. Then we see, we have an interview with Travis Banks, saying how happy he is. He's going to finally get a title shot against the Irish ace, Jordan Devlin. So this is more like a long time coming for him, because for him, if he beats Jordan Devlin for the Cruiserweight Championship, he could be the very first ever Kiwi champion. If you guys must know, Travis Banks, he's originally from Australia. So, or New Zealand. He's New Zealand, but he lives in Australia. So, yeah. So, we may see that. Then we have a women's match between, let's see who we have. Amela and Danny Lane. Now, this match ended in no contest due to the attack of Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray was making a notice that the women's division is hers and there's no one can do about it. So she just left her mark. So we still don't know who's willing to step up to face her yet. Then they introduce this female wrestler. They call her like a name, Iofe Valkyrie. I don't know who she is, but she's from. She has this interesting look, kind of like Vikingish type. I'm not sure, but it was pretty interesting. Now let's jump in with the main event with Finn Balor versus Alexander Wolf. Now, Alexander Wolf, he is the hatchet one. He basically will do whatever it takes to win a match, and that's what he does. So he requested this match, but the more he tried to take out Finn Balor in any way possible. But come on, we all know Finn Balor. He's the man who does extraordinary things. But out of nowhere, here comes the members of Imperium. Faber, Marcel, and Walter try to ensure that Balor loses, but because of that, the ref threw them out completely, giving the chance to Finn Balor to pick up the win, giving the coup de grace, and then the 1916 finishing move. And Finn Balor won this match against Alexander Wolf. So this is only just the start. So we still don't know yet more about what's gonna happen. I will follow more with the NXT UK. I think this is gonna be an interesting thing to broaden out. If I'm unable to put it on the on the YouTube channel, I might put it in the podcast. So you may catch me on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Public Radios, Overcast. Forgot what the other ones, but you can follow me there. But if there's anything you guys want me to talk about that I haven't talked, but leave a comment down below. Now, like I said, I don't know yet if I'm going to be able to post these videos soon enough because I got no Wi-Fi. So, if I post it late, I'm really sorry. I have no Wi-Fi, but I'll try to do my best. So, on behalf of the Leader WrestleZone, I am J-Rod. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang!